Before I begin, I would like to tell you a joke that was told to me by my best friend, Angela, from Staten Island. It goes like this. I ask God every year for a bike, but I know that's not how it works. So I stole the bike and asked for his forgiveness instead. Now hold that thought. First and foremost, I would like to thank the folks who put me on this stage today. The wonderful folks at Mesquite Farm and Brower Youth Organization. And most of all, my parents for the tremendous support and encouragement in every step along the way. And last but not least, my twin for shooting that awesome film video as well. What I came here to tell you is not just a tale of some kid working on some farm, not even about the environmental movement in general. No, I came here to tell you about e to the I pi and the power of patterns. So I dare say that just as beauty lies in the eye of the beholder, power lies in the patterns. Thinking about my work at Mesquite Farm before going off to Princeton, I thought to myself, how can I continue my work without being there? How can I, if you will, take the ingredients of my project to produce something larger in scope and greater than the sum of its parts? In other words, how can I make 2 + 2 = 5? By the way, don't quote me this on the SAT if you're taking that anytime soon. To illustrate my point, let us drift back to the time of 18th century mathematician and astronomer Leonard Euler. Euler worked to produce one of the most beautiful equations of all of mathematics. The simple statement that the number e, a famous irrational number, raised to the power of the square root of -1, I, times pi equals -1. A fiendishly counterintuitive yet powerful piece of mathematics with broad applications and riveting consequence. Amongst his complex equations that surrounded him, amidst the chicken scratch that filled his study, Euler saw patterns. And out of these patterns emerged real results. Euler reduced entire manuscripts and years of work to just one equation. E to the I pi plus 1 = 0. All by seeing patterns. Now you may ask, why is this relevant? Why does this even matter? And my answer, the effective simplicity of patterns. For my inspiration, I turned to patterns too, specifically focusing on patterns that were easily translatable and agile. For all my life, some of my fondest memories revolved around the sphere of learning. Learning to ride a bike, to play the piano, about a new plant or animal. That simple and naive eureka moment that every kid has. All in all, the recurring pattern of education as an entity of change in my life was immense. And that right there is precisely the so what of my project. The idea that I believed in using a pattern in my life to rally a community, and then did exactly that. And I produced real-world results. Because I used a pattern to stand up for those without a voice, the birds and native plant species, and even those with a voice, the many residents who now drink cleaner water. Because I used a pattern to leverage work from previous years, building the nature trail, birdhouses, informational kiosks, installing storm drains. And I use these as proofs of concept in what was featured in the film briefly as the environmental learning center that was built. All in the name of creating an immersive educational experience for summer camp children and the 128,000 visitors yearly. And my friends, as we wrap up the tale of Euler and patterns, I broadcast this. For those of you out there, whether you're an inspiring environmentalist or an up-and-coming entrepreneur looking for a way to change the world, look for patterns. Don't get caught up in the details, and most of all, don't reinvent the wheel. There's a pattern out there waiting to be uncovered. Silent they might be, but they move mountains. I learned this firsthand. Patterns are the future, and it's just a matter of finding them. But as Angela alluded to in his Staten Island vernacular, act now and act quickly. Go out and forge the intersection of disciplines. Drive yourself by the fear of being average and make 2 + 2 = 5. And most of all, don't underestimate the beauty of simplicity. Thank you.